What happens when Allah sends a miracle and mankind still rejects it? A massive stone, a single she-camel, a thunderous scream from the sky, and a nation turned to dust. This is not a story from fantasy. This is the real story of a prophet many have forgotten, but whose message is more urgent than ever. Prophet Salih, عليه السلام, was not sent to a foreign land. He was sent to Arabia, to people who carved homes in mountains and built palaces of stone, to a nation called Thamud, who thought their power would never end. But they made a mistake that cost them everything, and if we're not careful, we're making the same mistake right now. If you care about the truth, then do not scroll away. If you still feel your heart beating for Allah, prove it. Like the video, share it, subscribe, and revive the stories Allah Himself recorded in the Qur'an, because one day, you'll have to answer what you did with them. A nation of builders and boasters, long before the Qur'an was revealed, before even the birth of Isa, عليه السلام, there lived a powerful nation known as Thamud. They were strong, wealthy, skilled in architecture and engineering. They carved entire homes and palaces into the sides of towering mountains, structures so grand they still stand today in places like Madain Salih in modern-day Arabia. But with their greatness came arrogance. They believed they were invincible. They said, "Who is mightier than us in strength?" And slowly, they forgot Allah. So Allah, out of mercy, sent them a prophet from among themselves. His name was Salih, عليه السلام, a man known for his intelligence, honesty, and noble lineage, someone they respected, until he told them the truth. "O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him. He is the one who produced you from the earth and settled you in it. So ask His forgiveness and then repent to Him. Surely my Lord is ever near, responsive." Surah Hud, 1161. But the people of Thamud weren't ready to listen. The warning they didn't want. When Prophet Salih عليه السلام called them to Tawheed, to leave their idol worship, to return to the path of righteousness, they were shocked. "You were one of us, Salih. We had such high hopes for you. Now you're telling us to abandon the gods of our forefathers." And yet Salih, عليه السلام, was patient. He didn't insult them. He didn't shout. He didn't retaliate when they mocked him. He just warned them. "Will you be left in security in what you have here? In gardens and springs, and fields of crops and palm trees with soft clusters, and you skillfully carve dwellings out of the mountains. So fear Allah and obey me, and do not obey the command of the transgressors who spread corruption in the land and do not reform." Surah Ash-Shu'ara, 26, 146, 152. But the leaders, always the leaders, they refused, they laughed. They told their people, "He's just a liar. He's possessed." They couldn't handle the truth, so they silenced it. The rock-splitting miracle. The people of Thamud were not just stubborn, they were arrogant. And so they mocked Salih, عليه السلام, with a challenge. "If you are truly a prophet, then bring us a miracle. Let a she-camel emerge from this mountain." They pointed at a massive stone boulder, solid, immovable. And in full view of everyone, Salih, عليه السلام, made dua. Suddenly, the impossible happened, before their very eyes. The rock cracked, rumbled, and from it emerged a massive she-camel, alive, breathing, towering in size, a miracle that defied logic, a sign from Allah that was undeniable. This is the she-camel of Allah, a sign for you. So let her graze in Allah's land, and do not touch her with harm, lest a swift punishment seize you. Surah Al-A'raf, 773. This wasn't just any camel. She drank an entire day's worth of water, and the people had to share water with her, one day for them, one day for her. It was a test of patience, of submission, of sincerity. And though many believed after seeing the miracle, the arrogant ones only grew more hateful. The test of obedience. The miracle of the she-camel was not just for amazement, It was a test. Allah had given them what they asked for. Now came the command. Let her graze freely in the land, and do not touch her with harm, or a painful punishment will seize you. Surah Ash-Shu'ara 26, 155, 156. It was simple. Let the she-camel drink from the well one day. You take from it the next. Do not hurt her. Do not kill her. Do not block her from Allah's provision. But arrogance never listens. The leaders of Thamud began stirring doubts again. Is this how we live now? Taking turns with an animal? This isn't how we've built our civilization. Their hatred wasn't for the camel. It was for what she represented, the truth, the command, the proof, the sign of Allah. And slowly, hearts began to harden again. How many signs has Allah shown you in your life? How many times have you been guided and still turned away? The people of Thamud saw a miracle with their own eyes, yet they rejected it. And you, watching this, have seen enough signs to bring you back to Allah. So stop waiting for one more sign. This story is your sign. Don't scroll without acting. Like the video. Share it with someone who's forgotten the truth, and be among the few who actually take the reminder seriously. Milk for an entire nation. It was a divine arrangement. One day for the people of Thamud, one day for the she-camel of Allah. But this was no ordinary animal. When it was her day to drink, she would consume an entire day's worth of water from the well. Yet, subhanallah, she produced enough milk to feed the entire tribe. And tell them that the water is to be shared between them, each drinking in turn. Surah Al-Qamar 54:28. Even when they couldn't fetch water, they never went thirsty. Her milk was rich, pure and plentiful. Children drank, adults drank, animals drank. The she-camel wasn't a burden, she was a blessing. A living proof that Allah provides in the most unimaginable ways. But the arrogance of the disbelievers only grew stronger. They mocked, "So now we live on camel milk? What kind of system is this?" They weren't rejecting the camel, they were rejecting Allah's authority over their lives. How many times has Allah taken something from you, only to replace it with something better? But instead of gratitude, you questioned Him. You watched others obey Allah and mocked them. You judged the way of truth because it looked different. Thamud laughed at the she-camel. They made fun of her milk. They disrespected the very sign Allah sent to save them. Don't be like them. If you've ever belittled what Allah values, make tawbah before it's too late. Like the video. Send it to someone who's forgotten where true provision comes from. And let this story bring us back to humility. An open warning. And a nation's denial Prophet Salih, عليه السلام, stood before his people. With firm resolve, he delivered a final plea. O my people, this she-camel of Allah is a sign for you. So let her feed on Allah's earth and do not harm her, or a swift punishment will seize you. Surah Hud 11:64. They had no reason to doubt, no reason to disobey. They could drink her milk. They had access to water every other day. They were safe, prosperous and well-fed, but their pride wouldn't allow them to submit. The miracle they saw with their own eyes was not enough to bend their hearts. So they schemed, they plotted, they whispered in secret corners. Should we kill the camel? What will happen if we do? This wasn't just rebellion. This was open war against a sign of Allah. And Salih, عليه السلام, warned them again. Do not touch her, do not harm her. Because if you do, the consequences will come swiftly. A plot against the mercy of Allah. It began with hushed voices and ended with a plan soaked in arrogance. Among the people of Thamud, there were 9 ringleaders, known for their corruption, their pride, and their hatred of truth. They conspired together, united by one goal. Let us kill the she-camel and her calf. Then we'll say, we didn't see anything, we weren't involved. And there were in the city 9 family heads who spread corruption in the land and would not reform. They said, swear to one another by Allah that we will attack him and his family by night. Then we will say to his heir, we did not witness the destruction of his family, and indeed, we are truthful. Surah An-Naml 27:48-49. These weren't just criminals, they were calculating liars, plotting not just against Salih, alayhi as-salam, but against Allah himself. And what had the camel done? Nothing, except be a living sign of Allah's power and mercy. They wanted to destroy it, so they could continue living as if no truth had ever been shown. How many of us do the same? We see Allah's signs, and we ignore them. We enjoy His mercy, and we pretend we earned it. We silence His warnings and chase the world instead. Don't be like the people of Thamud. Honor the signs of Allah. Honor the truth before it's gone. The night of betrayal. The night fell, silent, still, as if the earth itself held its breath. The 9 conspirators crept toward the resting place of the she-camel. Their blades were sharp, their hearts were dark, and as the stars watched above, they struck. So they hamstrung the she-camel. Surah Ash-Shams 91:14. They slaughtered the miracle of Allah and laughed as its blood soaked the earth. The people of Thamud cheered. Yes, they celebrated the death of a sign from Allah. They mocked Salih, alayhi as-salam. They claimed victory. But what they didn't know was that divine punishment had already begun. So they hamstrung her and became regretful, and the punishment seized them. Indeed, in that is a sign, but most of them were not believers. Surah Ash-Shu'ara 26:157-158. Salih, alayhi as-salam, returned, his face full of grief. He looked at the corpse of the camel, then turned to his people and said with sorrow, "Enjoy yourselves in your homes for 3 days. That is a promise not to be denied." Surah Hud 11:65. 3 days, that's all they had left. A deadline from the divine 3 days. That's what they were given, not as a mercy, not as a chance to repent, but as a countdown to destruction. So he said, "Enjoy yourselves in your homes for 3 days. That is a promise not to be denied." Surah Hud 11:65. But instead of fear, what did Thamud do? They mocked the warning. They celebrated again. They painted their homes, dressed in fine clothes. They told each other, "Nothing will happen." Day 1 passed. The skies were clear. No punishment. Day 2. They laughed louder, mocked Salih even more. Day 3. The earth began to tremble. They looked at each other. Panic crept in, but it was already too late. Salih, alayhi as-salam, and the believers had left, and then the heavens roared. So the earthquake seized them, and they lay lifeless in their homes. Surah Al-A'raf 778. And just like that, an entire civilization was wiped out. No armies, no warning sirens, no escape, just the command of Allah and silence. How many of us do the same? We see Allah's signs, and we ignore them. We enjoy His mercy, and we pretend we earned it. We silence His warnings and chase the world instead. Don't be like the people of Thamud. Honor the signs of Allah. Honor the truth before it's gone. Turn to dust, forgotten by time. When the earth shook beneath their feet, it wasn't just an earthquake. It was a scream from the skies, a sound so powerful it crushed their souls before their bodies. So the blast overtook them at sunrise, and all that they had earned availed them not. Surah Al-Hijr 15:73-84. The mighty homes they carved into mountains, gone. The wealth they hoarded, gone. The pride that made them kill a miracle, crushed under rubble and silence. Only one group remained, the followers of Salih, alayhi as-salam, safe, untouched, far from the city. They looked back and saw only ruins. So he turned away from them and said, "O my people, I certainly delivered my Lord's message to you and gave you sincere advice, but you do not love sincere advisers." Surah Al-A'raf 7:79. Imagine, Salih, alayhi as-salam, a prophet who watched his entire nation collapse, not because he failed, but because they refused. How many reminders have you ignored? How many chances have you buried under arrogance? They had one she-camel, one warning, one prophet. You have 1,000 reminders, 1,000 Qur'an apps, 1,000,000 videos like this one. What's your excuse? The conspirators revealed, Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Now the Qur'an singles them out. And there were in the city 9 family heads who spread corruption in the land and would not reform. Surah An-Naml 27:48. 9 men. They were the elite, wealthy, arrogant, and addicted to evil. Tafsir Ibn Kathir tells us they conspired not only to kill the she-camel, but they plotted to assassinate Prophet Salih, عليه السلام, at night. Their plan? Strike him when no one is watching, then swear by Allah we had nothing to do with it. But Allah exposed them before they could act. He revealed their secret and sealed their fate. Israeliyat, the names of the killers. Israeliyat, non-authentic but historic. According to ancient narrations, their names were Qidar ibn Salif, Musda ibn Mahraj, Dahmas ibn Jalmas, and others. One narration says the man who slaughtered the she-camel was named Qudar ibn Salif. He was the most wicked among them, and he struck her with a sword multiple times before she finally fell. The she-camel bled out in agony, and all of Thamud became complicit in the crime. And now I ask you, viewer, are we not the same? When truth is spoken, do we obey or mock? When Allah gives signs, do we reflect or scroll away? The people of Thamud were destroyed for mocking one camel. We have the entire Qur'an. Will you still walk away? Subscribe if you're serious about reviving the forgotten prophets. Like this video if you're tired of an ummah that's asleep. Don't be like Thamud. Be like Salih alayhi salam. Salih alayhi salam returns to the ruins silence, the kind of silence that screams. Prophet Salih alayhi salam returned to the city, only to find it shattered, bodies frozen in disbelief, homes reduced to rubble, no screams, no cries, just death. He looked upon the destruction and said, "O my people, I had indeed conveyed to you the message of my Lord and advised you, but you do not love those who give good advice." Surah Al-Araf 7:79. A prophet weeping, not for himself, but for a nation that refused to listen. Lessons burned into stone. Thamud was erased, but Allah left something behind. Their homes, carved into mountains, still stand today. Do you still go to the ruins of Thamud and pass by them in the morning and at night? Will you not take a lesson? Surah As-Safat 37, 137, 138. A reminder etched in stone, so that future generations like you never forget. And yet, we pass by their story, we hear their warnings, we read their fate, and we scroll on, unaffected. What made Thamud so doomed? It wasn't just idol worship. It wasn't just killing the camel. It was something deeper. They normalized evil. They turned truth into a joke. They mocked sincerity. They attacked the only man who stood up, and the rest, they stayed silent. And silence is not innocence. The legacy of Salih alayhi salam. Salih alayhi salam continued to live among the believers who survived. He taught them Tawheed. He showed them how to worship Allah without idols, without fear. But history forgot him, until you remembered him today. You, watching this video, you revived a prophet whose name the world tries to erase. You honored him, and maybe, just maybe, he will mention your name on the day of judgment. Modern Thamud, today, signs are ignored. Truth is mocked. Disobedience is celebrated. And the camel? Today it's not an animal. It's the Qur'an. It's the Sunnah. It's modesty, prayer, and truth, all being mocked, mutilated, and cast aside. We are killing the camel every day, and we think no punishment will come? Now let me ask you, brother, sister, what happened to Thamud? It wasn't a story, it was a warning, and you just heard it. So if you scroll away now, unaffected, what makes you different from them? Like this video if your heart was shaken. Share it with someone who's lost their way. and subscribe, not for our channel but for the forgotten prophets of Allah. You want to revive this ummah? Then start with yourself, because silence is not innocence. The ruins of Thamud still stand, carved homes in the mountains, but no laughter, no life, only a message, whispered through the stones. Obey your Lord. Don't kill the truth. Don't wait for the scream. And if you're still watching, know this: Allah guided you here. This message was for you. Will you ignore it or carry it forward? Jazakum Allahu khairan for reviving this forgotten story. Until the next one, peace be upon the messengers, and may peace be upon you.